police presence in Overtown after bullets went flying overnight. Police say 2 males were shot in the foot on Northwest 3rd Avenue and Northwest 13th Street.
So the shooting happened just down the street. There is a sea of police cars here, but if we zoom in, you'll see a black car and a lot of evidence markers here. We're told by police that 2 people were shot and taken to the hospital.
The only man Phyllis Logan says she ever loved is gone, shot and left to die in the streets of Liberty City. It happened around 8 o'clock Saturday morning near Northwest 15th Avenue and 68th Street.
Now in Miami, a teenager is dead after a shooting in Allapattah. Crime scene tape surrounded an area between 2 apartments on Northwest 24th Street and 20th Avenue.
Miami, Florida, a city world-renowned for its beaches, nightlife, and vibrant culture, also hides a darker truth beneath the surface. While millions flock to South Beach and Brickell for sunshine and luxury, several of Miami's inner-city neighborhoods battle persistent cycles of poverty, gang activity, and violent crime. Areas like Liberty City, Overtown, Little Haiti, Allapattah, and even parts of downtown rank among the most dangerous in the city, with homicide rates and violent incidents far exceeding the national average. These neighborhoods have been shaped by decades of economic neglect, failed infrastructure, housing inequality, and community police tensions. Despite these challenges, local leaders, activists, and residents continue to fight for change, working to reduce violence, uplift youth, and reclaim their communities. Understanding these neighborhoods means confronting uncomfortable realities and recognizing the resilience behind the headlines.
The end of what police describe as a violent encounter between 2 adult men caught on camera by this gas station surveillance system. It's just before 8:15 last night when you see a man dashing across the parking lot of a gas station near the intersection of Northwest 54th Street and Northwest 17th Avenue in Miami. Seconds later, a police officer in pursuit. In this camera angle, take a close look. That man appears to throw something over a nearby fence before police catch up with him. Police officers were responding to the gunshot detection system ShotSpotter, an acoustic sensing technology, when they found a man shot near here. And say about a half block away, they found someone stabbed. It is believed an argument sparked the violent confrontation between the 2 men. Unknown is what they were arguing about.
I'm going to direct your attention to that black Escalade there you see in the street, Calvin. You can see bullet holes there in the windshield. And from what witnesses are telling us, police are still kind of trying to piece this together, detectives are, but what witnesses tell us, this was some sort of a drive-by situation. And not only did these people drive by, but they came back again to finish the job.
Beyond the crisscross of Miami police tape, a man dead in the middle of the street. Northwest 7th Avenue and 58th shut down. Onlookers seemed to break down.
Dum, dum, dum. It died down there. The rest done came around.
His father's my high school sweetheart. How could I not still love him?
The only man Phyllis Logan says she ever loved is gone, shot and left to die in the streets of Liberty City. It happened around 8 o'clock Saturday morning near Northwest 15th Avenue and 68th Street.
There was a lady and a gentleman arguing, and he told the man, please don't shoot her. You don't have to do that. And he turned around and shot him in the head.
When police arrived, the man was unresponsive. He was pronounced dead shortly after. Police say he was in his 60s.
We have an update on breaking news out of Liberty City. Police are investigating a shooting in the area of Northwest 68th Street and 15th Avenue. Investigators tell us just before 4 this morning, a man was shot multiple times.
Loved ones are mourning the loss of a man they knew as Bubba.
He was an extraordinary person. He had a heart of gold, and he would take the shirt off his back for anyone.
Nader Wada, the owner of Bubba's Supermarket and the nearby body shop off Northwest 7th and 75th Street, was on the job Tuesday morning. Richard Rios, a friend and employee of Bubba's, says he was killed inside his office, possibly during a disagreement with a customer.
They screamed at me, call the police, and that's what I did.
Rios was in the paint room when the shooting happened.
They were trying to revive him, but I saw, when I walked to the office, I saw that he was out of it.
That's right, Nikki and Todd. Good morning. Nearly a month after 2 teenagers were shot and killed and 2 others wounded in a quadruple shooting, Miami police believe they have the people responsible behind bars. 2 men arrested yesterday. Up next for them is a bond court appearance.
Miami police making 2 big arrests early Saturday morning, taking 21-year-old Yarnus Bryant and 19-year-old Anthony Clinch into custody, wanted in connection to a Liberty Square shooting where 4 people were shot. Two of those victims, 17-year-old Kimson Green, a 10th grader at Miami Northwestern Senior High School, and 18-year-old Ricky Dixon died in that shooting last month. The victims were shot near Northwest 63rd Street and 13th Avenue. Miami police say Clinch and Bryant pulled up in a car and started shooting. At least 25 gunshots were said to be heard in the area.
Liberty City, once known as Model City, remains the most dangerous neighborhood in Miami in terms of violent crime. Located in Northwest Miami and home to a predominantly black population, Liberty City has endured decades of poverty, disinvestment, and unrest. By the late 1960s, the area had become overcrowded and economically strained, and crime escalated sharply in the years that followed the civil rights era. The neighborhood became nationally known in 1980 after riots erupted in response to the acquittal of white police officers involved in the beating death of black motorist Arthur McDuffie. Liberty City was again rocked by civil unrest in 1989, when a police shooting of a black motorcyclist led to days of rioting there and in nearby Overtown. These events reflect the long-standing tension between Liberty City residents and law enforcement. Today, Liberty City continues to see high levels of violence, with anywhere from 4 to 11 deletions per month. In 2023 alone, the neighborhood recorded 53 deletions, down from 72 in 2020. But still among the highest rates in the city. Much of the violence is concentrated near the Liberty Square public housing complex, known locally as Pork and Beans, where gang-related shootings and retaliatory deletions are tragically common. Innocent bystanders are often caught in the crossfire, as in the heartbreaking 2006 case of 9-year-old Sherdavia Jenkins, who was by stray AK-47 fire while playing outside her home during a drug-related dispute. The neighborhood's violent crime rate remains staggering, 205% higher than the Miami City average, with assaults, armed robberies, and shootings driving the numbers. Contributing to this crisis are deeply rooted socioeconomic issues. The median household income in Liberty City is just under $19,000, and the community has faced decades of underinvestment, unemployment, and an entrenched drug trade. Liberty City has also been plagued by gang activity. In the 1990s, groups like the John Doe Gang turned the area into a battleground during the height of the crack cocaine epidemic. While federal crackdowns dismantled some of these networks, gang violence continues to be a leading cause of shootings. A pervasive no-snitch culture makes it even harder for police to solve crimes, leaving many unsolved and fueling a dangerous cycle of retaliation. Pastor Billy Strange of Mount Calvary Church even described having to wear a bulletproof vest while officiating funerals for young men killed in gang feuds, a grim testament to how embedded the violence is. Despite these challenges, there are signs of hope. Local residents and leaders are pushing back through grassroots action. Initiatives like the Liberty Square Community Concern Group have organized prayer walks, youth mentoring, and peace rallies. In May 2025, the neighborhood hosted its 3rd annual Youth Summit on Gun Violence, where teens were trained in conflict resolution and how to safely engage with law enforcement. Community advocate Lyle Hallman credited such efforts and improved police presence for contributing to a recent decrease in deletions. "We have made a powerful impact," he said, reflecting a cautious optimism after years of hardship. Still, Liberty City remains Miami's most violent neighborhood by the numbers. For long-term change to take root, the community will require sustained investment in education, housing, mental health, and economic opportunity. As Miami-Dade's mayor once noted, crime can only thrive where there's a lack of opportunity, and nowhere is that more evident than Liberty City. Yet even amid adversity, local efforts show that the path to transformation is not only necessary, it's already underway.
Police investigating a fatal shooting in Miami's Overtown neighborhood that left one man dead, the shooter or shooters still on the run. Cameras capturing what appeared to be the victim's bicycle sitting on the sidewalk with several dozen yellow evidence markers surrounding it. It all happened around midnight near Northwest 3rd Avenue and 11th Street. According to investigators, officers first responded there for a ShotSpotter gunfire detection alert. When they arrived, they found one man, possibly in his 20s, suffering from a gunshot wound.
A heavy police presence in Overtown after bullets went flying overnight. Police say 2 males were shot in the foot on Northwest 3rd Avenue and Northwest 13th Street around 2:30 Monday morning. Officers haven't released any details on who the victims are or what led up to the shooting. but they did say both victims were taken to Jackson Memorial Hospital in stable condition.
Police surrounding a corner store in Miami's Overtown neighborhood after a man was shot in the chest overnight, the victim later collapsing on the sidewalk steps away from the store's front doors. It all started when officers received a 911 call around 5 a.m. about a man in his early 40s who had possibly been shot near the Overtown Market on Northwest 12th Street and First Place. Paramedics rushing the victim to Jackson Memorial in critical condition, officers spending hours at the scene, following blood trails, trying to figure out where the actual shooting took place.
Gunshots rang out shortly after midnight this morning on Northwest First Place in Overtown. And police confirmed 3 people were shot, that man, that woman that were brought here to the hospital, and then another man, a 55-year-old who unfortunately was killed and died there on scene. His body was actually under a tarp as police began their investigation, and so far his name has not been released.
Just northwest of downtown Miami, Overtown is one of the city's most historically troubled neighborhoods. Once known as Colored Town, it was a cultural hotspot, particularly for Black musicians and artists. That changed in the 1960s when the construction of I-95 and I-395 tore through the heart of the community, displacing thousands and sparking a sharp economic decline. The fallout was severe, poverty deepened, drug trafficking surged, and violent crime became a daily reality. By the 1980s, Overtown had become synonymous with urban decay. Tensions with police ran high, culminating in 3 major riots 1968, 1980, and 1989, each triggered by deadly encounters between Black residents and law enforcement. These events underscored deep-rooted distrust and frustration. Today, Overtown remains one of the most dangerous areas in Miami. Violent crime here is 227% higher than the national average, with a 1 in 22 chance annually of becoming a victim. Assaults, shootings, and drug-related violence are rampant, especially in residential zones where gang activity mostly small. Hyper-local crews adds fuel to the fire. In 2020, Overtown's violent crime rate was 124% above the national average. High-profile incidents continue to draw attention. In 2011, a shootout at an apartment complex left bystanders wounded and reignited clashes between residents and police. In August 2023, a street party turned deadly when 2 people were shot during a dispute, prompting renewed calls for safer community spaces for youth. The roots of Overtown struggles mirrored those in nearby Liberty City: chronic poverty, unemployment, substandard housing, and the lingering scars of segregation. The population has plummeted from 40,000 in 1950 to under 10,000, leaving behind empty lots and derelict buildings often linked to illegal activity. In response, both police and community groups are stepping up. ShotSpotter gun detection systems have been deployed, and officers have ramped up patrols in hot zones. At the grassroots level, groups like the Overtown Youth Center offer after-school programs to keep kids away from gangs. In 2024, local high school students even hosted a town hall on gun violence to spotlight the risks they face simply walking home. Reducing crime in Overtown will take more than policing. It requires investment in jobs, housing, education, and rebuilding trust in a community left behind for too long.
Residents complaining about safety issues in Brickell and downtown Miami. One resident in Brickell recorded this exchange. She says that a homeless man confronted her at the entrance to Brickell Key. Neighbors say they've also called police about public urination and trespassing. Members of the Downtown Neighbors Alliance say they're seeing more break-ins in recent months. The police department's downtown commander joined the town hall to discuss solutions.
Right now, 4:30, a man caught on camera knocking a tray out of a waiter's hand, sending food all over the floor. He's then seen getting into some kind of confrontation inside that restaurant.
And Local 10's Roy Ramos is joining us. He's live now in Miami with reaction coming in from the owner. Roy?
Christina Louie, when I spoke with that business owner, he tells me he was very upset when he heard about what happened, but that anger quickly shifted to concern. Concern for his employees, concern for his customers, and concern for the person responsible.
My first response was anger.
Outrage sparked at a Miami business owner after his cameras capture a man deliberately slapping a tray with more than a half-dozen plates full of food out of the hand of one of his servers. Watch as this man is exiting through a glass door, and just as that server walks by, he hits the edge of the tray, causing the food to crash to the floor.
Police say 2 homeless men were attacked and beaten by a man with a stick. He then attacked a couple.
Of the 4 victims, all of whom were homeless, 2 are dead and 2 are in the hospital. Miami police on the scene along with a crime scene unit. Onlookers confused during an active death investigation downtown on North Miami Avenue near 6th Street. A command center set up near the Brightline Central Station with the suspect now in custody. The police chief.
Downtown Miami, including the Central Business District and parts of Brickell, doesn't look like a typical high crime area. It's the city's commercial and tourist hub, filled with office towers, luxury condos, and busy nightlife. But behind the glitz, the data tells a different story. Downtown has one of the highest violent crime rates in the city. Recent figures show downtown's violent crime rate is 186% above the national average, with roughly a 1 in 83 chance of becoming a victim each year. That's more than double the Miami citywide rate. The area logs about 1,431 violent crimes per 100,000 people, which is 191% higher than the city average. Several factors fuel this: huge daily crowds, nightlife that runs into the early hours, and a large transient population. Robberies and aggravated assaults are the most common offenses, especially after dark in less patrolled fringe areas. Homelessness and mental health crises also contribute, with occasional random attacks by individuals in distress. Fights outside clubs sometimes escalate into serious violence. In 2022, a dispute outside a Brickell nightclub ended in a fatal shooting, showing how quickly things can spiral, even in Miami's wealthiest districts. Gang activity has a presence too, with crews from other neighborhoods targeting downtown nightlife for robberies or turf conflicts. While downtown's resident population is small, around 19,000, the daily influx of commuters and tourists skews the crime rate upward. Still, safety remains a concern. Some streets are known for open-air drug dealing and aggressive panhandling, feeding a sense of unease. City officials have responded. Police foot patrols have increased in key areas, and the business community has invested in surveillance and lighting improvements. These steps helped reduce robberies citywide by about 10% between 2022 and 2023. Even so, locals warn, stay alert, especially at night. Miami police recommend sticking to well-lit, busy streets and avoiding quiet blocks near Overtown and Wynwood, where crime rates are higher. Downtown Miami isn't off-limits, but its crime profile is serious enough to make it a continued focus for law enforcement and urban reform.
Well, Maribel, this happened coincidentally right next to the Toussaint Louverture Elementary School, which of course is closed, but until just a few moments ago had been sealed off with yellow crime scene tape. Now, Miami police tell us that 2 men were shot just after 11 last night here at the scene at Northeast 1st Avenue at 59th Street. The Miami-Dade Medical Examiner's office was called in because 1 man did not survive this shooting. A second victim was transported to Jackson Memorial Hospital. Now, we noticed that at least 50 evidence markers are here with bullet casings near them, as well as a bicycle.
Now at 6, Miami police say they have caught the man who attacked 2 women last week in Little Haiti. One of them. Miami police and U.S. Marshals swarmed a neighborhood this morning where Tavares Canty was taken into custody, and tonight we've learned he may be behind more attacks.
Is found just riddled with bullets on I-95. This morning, police are trying to figure out if this is connected to a shooting in Little Haiti neighborhood.
And this morning, 2 people, including a teen, are recovering at Jackson Memorial Hospital.
Neighbors describing the moments after they heard dozens of gunshots in this Miami neighborhood. It happened on Thursday night around 8:45. City of Miami police say they got a shot spotter alert that sent them to the area of Northwest 56th Street and 3rd Avenue, where they found 2 teenage boys had been shot. The victims, identified by their families as 14-year-old DeMarcus Cook and 16-year-old Arquaylin Taylor, were rushed to Jackson Memorial Hospital in stable condition. Detectives spent hours at the scene looking for evidence.
Miami police gave us that new information that one of the victims here has died in the last hour. So the shooting happened just down the street. There is a sea of police cars here, but if we zoom in, you'll see a black car and a lot of evidence markers here. We're told by police that 2 people were shot and taken to the hospital.
Miami police trying to unravel a violent mystery in Little Haiti with few clues and lots of bloodshed. It was around 9:30 Sunday night. Investigators say a man stumbled into this well-known bar at Northeast 55th Street and Northeast 2nd Avenue looking for help. He'd been shot. As rescuers arrived to rush that man to Jackson's Ryder Trauma, cops would make a new discovery just blocks away.
Officers continued to canvass the area, and then they located a second victim who had been found inside of a vehicle off of Northeast 2nd Avenue and 57th Street.
A community still in shock after police say 41-year-old Odette Josaint, her 2 children. At a press conference Thursday, police released gruesome details of what led up to the incident.
When the officers went inside, these 2 kids were tied at the hands and at their feet, and they also had tied in their necks.
Josaint has been arrested and went before a judge to hear her charges.
Little Haiti is the cultural anchor of Miami's Haitian community, but it's also one of the city's most violent neighborhoods. Located just north of downtown, it grapples with chronic gun violence, gang activity, and deep-rooted poverty, much like Liberty City and Overtown. The numbers are stark. Little Haiti's violent crime rate is 83% higher than the Miami average, translating to nearly 900 violent crimes per 100,000 residents each year, among the highest in Florida. ShotSpotter gunfire detection systems recorded over 2,100 shots in the neighborhood during a recent study, making it one of the city's top hotspots for shootings. Residents regularly report hearing gunfire at night, and some blocks have experienced multiple homicides in recent years. Several high-profile incidents have fueled Little Haiti's violent reputation. In July 2022, a gang shootout on Northwest 2nd Avenue deleted a young man and injured several others. Police arrested 3 suspects connected to a local Haitian-American crew. Such gangs trace back to Zoe Pound, a group formed in the 1990s for protection but later tied to drug trafficking, extortion, and murders. Though Zoe Pound's influence has faded, new gangs have taken its place, and turf wars continue. In May 2023, a market shootout left 2 dead, another apparent case of retaliatory violence. The roots of Little Haiti's crime run deep. The area became a haven for Haitian refugees in the 1980s and 90s, but many residents still face high unemployment, language barriers, and limited access to opportunity. With few economic options, some young men turn to gangs or the drug trade. Guns are easy to get, and the consequences are often deadly. As one activist put it, "Our kids are dodging bullets on their way home from school." In one widely mourned case in 2021, a popular local DJ was shot and deleted outside a nightclub, prompting demands for better police presence. Authorities have responded. Little Haiti was among the first areas to get ShotSpotter coverage, allowing faster police response to gunfire. The Miami Gang Task Force has made several high-profile sweeps, including a 2019 operation that dismantled the Zombie Boys, a gang linked to multiple shootings. Community groups are also stepping in. Programs like the Haitian Youth Program and local churches offer mentorship and after-school activities to keep kids off the streets. Meanwhile, the neighborhood is slowly gentrifying. Developers have started moving and drawn by the area's cultural appeal and high elevation, bringing new businesses, increased police patrols, and cautious optimism. Still, residents are conflicted. They want safety without displacement. Many fear that rising rents will push out longtime families even as the streets grow safer. As of 2024, Little Haiti is a neighborhood in transition, still dangerous in places, but rich with culture, resilience, and people fighting to reclaim their community.
Grief-stricken family members showing up to the scene as soon as they heard the news. Police not releasing the names of the victims, only that 2 men were shot in a car.
Once officers arrived on scene, they did locate 2 males that were sitting inside of a car who appeared to have been suffering from gunshot wounds. City of Miami Fire Rescue did respond on scene and pronounced both of those males deceased.
It happened just before 8 p.m. in Miami's Allapattah neighborhood on Northwest 35th Street and 13th Avenue.
Pretty close to 3 a.m. This guy walks up with his scooter. He throws an unknown liquid over the fence at a car. Minutes later, he comes back, cup in hand, does it again.
I just thought about my little girl, my daughter. Someone that throws acid in someone's house would, what could they do to you?
They spotted 3 men suffering from gunshot wounds. One of the men did die on scene, and while we are told the other 2 men were rushed to Jackson Memorial Hospital. Now, we don't know if this shooting happened as the car was parked or if the injured drove themselves to this location, but We do know that one man is dead and the shooter or shooters
Now
is...
in Miami, a teenager is dead after a shooting in Allapattah. Crime scene tape surrounded an area between two apartments on Northwest 24th Street and 20th Avenue. We also saw a bicycle on the ground near where detectives were investigating.
Allapattah, a working-class neighborhood west of Wynwood, struggles with consistently high levels of violent crime, though not as extreme as places like Overtown or Little Haiti. Sometimes nicknamed Little Santo Domingo for its large Dominican community, the area is a mix of Latino and Black residents, many of whom face economic hardship and limited opportunity. The numbers paint a clear picture. Violent crime in Allapattah is 108% above the national average, with around 755 violent crimes per 100,000 residents annually. That's 53% higher than Miami's citywide average. The most common violent offenses here include aggravated assaults, domestic violence, and armed robberies, many of which occur on quiet residential streets. Gang presence in Allapattah is less entrenched than in other parts of Miami, but drug-related violence still flares up. Local crews operate small-scale drug corners, and disputes sometimes turn deadly. Domestic violence has also been a major contributor to the area's crime stats. In 2018, a man deleted his mother and grandmother in a high-profile stabbing, and in 2021, a fight near a food truck ended in a double shooting. These cases show that not all of Allapattah's violence is gang-related. Personal conflicts and volatile relationships also play a role. Socioeconomic challenges run deep. The neighborhood has a high concentration of low-wage workers, immigrants, and overcrowded housing. Poverty and aging infrastructure have long held the area back, especially compared to rapidly gentrifying neighborhoods nearby. Still, there are signs of progress. Community policing and neighborhood watches have helped bring crime down slightly in recent years. Miami Police's Allapattah networks with residents to address nuisance properties and improve safety. Code enforcement closures of illegal bars and gambling spots have helped reduce hotspots for violence. A major push came with Operation Summer Heat, a 2021 crackdown on violent crime across Miami-Dade County. Allapattah was one of the targeted zones. Police surged into high-crime areas on overtime shifts, seized illegal guns and drugs, and shut down after-hours clubs linked to shootings. The result, a noticeable drop in shootings by mid-2022. Local community efforts are also gaining traction. Residents, clergy, and police walk together weekly in the Peace Walk along Northwest 17th Avenue, sending a clear message against violence and for neighborhood unity. Allapattah still faces serious crime challenges. But with continued investment in both enforcement and community support, there's hope that its streets can keep getting safer without losing the people and culture that define the neighborhood. Miami's most dangerous neighborhoods reflect the city's deepest social divides, where economic hardship, systemic neglect, and street-level violence often go hand in hand. From Liberty City's long struggle with gang violence to the historic decline of Overtown and the high-alert streets of Little Haiti, these areas face challenges that cannot be solved by policing alone. Solutions must address the root causes: generational poverty, failing schools, limited access to opportunity, and the trauma of constant violence. Yet, amid the statistics, there is strength. Community-led initiatives, youth mentorship, and targeted law enforcement have shown signs of progress. The road to transformation is long, but for the families and young people living in these neighborhoods, the fight for safety, dignity, and a brighter future is ongoing and deeply personal. Miami cannot fully thrive until all its neighborhoods, including its most vulnerable, are given the investment, attention, and hope they deserve.